I want to turn my attention to the ABC's outgoing chair, Ita Buttrose. Now, she's, for the first time, I reckon, in a while, made some really good points. She was addressing something called Women in Media. It was a national conference that was in Sydney today. Ita Buttrose told the audience that while having a diverse workforce remained high on the agenda at the ABC, what a surprise, what employees bring to the workplace is more important. It's a fair point. I don't think I could argue with that at all. Joining me now to discuss this and more, Sky News contributors Prue McSween and Tina McQueen. Ladies, welcome on a Friday night as usual.
Thanks, Steve.
I've got to say, someone said to me after the program last Friday, how do you not stumble over McSween and McQueen when you're introducing both of those ladies to the TV audience?
The Maccas.
It's fantastic. Prue, you'd be a big fan of Ita Buttrose. Is she practising what she's preaching?
Well, look, what she said is right, but it's more do as I say, not as I do. You know, I mean, frankly, diversity at the ABC, you have to be a card-carrying lefty, greenie, anti-liberal type to get a job there for a start. I mean, we all like diversity in the workplace, but you ain't diverse in the ABC. If you're a card-carrying Liberal voter, you wouldn't get a look in. So, you know, I think that Ita is, you know, saying what she thinks we all want to hear, but it ain't in practice, that's for sure.
Steve, what I think, it's too little too late. She's been there 5 years. She hasn't opened a mouth about this for 5 years. Now she's at the end of a tenure. Well, she says she's chosen to go. I think the Labor Party chose to get rid of her. She just decides to speak. I don't appreciate that. She should have been discussing this for the last 5 years.
The ABC's got a few vacancies on its radio networks in Sydney and Melbourne. Tina, do you reckon I should put my hand up? What chance do you reckon?
Oh, you got 2 chances, Steve. Buckley's a none.
Yeah, I reckon too.
I might just do it to have a bit of fun, I've got to say.
Oh, you've got to.
Speaking of the ABC, they say they, quote, made a regrettable error in allowing the Yes campaign to use the national broadcaster's archival material, a move that breached ABC rules. Apparently, Tina, it's interesting. These mistakes always seem to benefit the Yes campaign. Must be a coincidence, yeah?
Oh, definitely a coincidence, Steve. No, look, this is no mistake. They knew exactly what they're doing, and trying to tell us any difference a con, Steve. They'll pull any trick in the book to benefit the Yes case at this stage.
Prue, I was amazed when I realised that it's been just over 1 year since Queen Elizabeth II passed away. It's gone very quickly, that period of time. I note that the King Charles III, he's marked this 1 year in a statement. He said, "We recall with great affection her long life, devoted service and all she meant to so many of us." It really is the end of an era. I notice Harry's been travelling around and speaking about his former grandmother. The royal family is very different now the Queen's not there, correct?
Yeah, I think so. Look, she was just an amazing role model for young women, wasn't she, of that era and even of today. Even if you weren't, if you were a Republican, you couldn't help but admire her. She was quite wonderful, so resilient. She went through hell with the kids. And a lot of that, I suppose, you can attribute to the fact that she dedicated her life to service and not really probably being a mum. But that's what is the lot of the royals. Look, I think it was appropriate what Charles did. It must be incredibly sad because I know he was a real mummy's boy. And Harry, of course, is there, not going to see the family, probably wouldn't be welcome. But he was channeling, I heard him speak today, and he was sort of talking about what his grandmother would have been thinking. And I thought, well, how would you know, lovey? It was sort of weird, trying to countenance a bit of sympathy, probably.
Yeah.
Tina, I know the Queen series on Netflix is fiction, but, I mean, we watch it and we think that maybe is what it was like behind the palace doors. I mean, the great love affair between Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip is one of the endearing stories, one of the incredible love stories of our time, isn't it?
Oh, exactly. And I think she was able to be the magnificent queen she was because of him. He didn't try and overshadow her. There was no jealousy. He supported her in every role. It really was a beautiful romantic story. And obviously, you know, they spent so long together. And I think when she lost him, a little bit of life went out of her. Then, of course, in her dying days, to have that bugger of a kid, Harry, you know, create havoc. Yeah, but it's a sad time. I think everyone still looks back on her with fondness and a great respect, Steve. You know, time hasn't passed yet where people are dismissive of the Queen yet. They're still very fond of her, particularly in London.
You're such a romantic, Steve. I didn't realise.
Well, I just think it was. I mean, look, Philip could do some damage to the royal family with some of the things he said, and you know, who knows what sort of extramarital affairs he might have had. But
He
it
didn't
seems
have
that
any.
Queen
Steve,
Elizabeth
hush
had
your
this.
mouth. He did not engage in any of that.
How do you know?
Say that. I know. He wouldn't have done it.
I'm not so sure.
No, I'm not so sure.
What do you reckon, Prue?
No, I reckon he was very naughty boy.
I think so too. Let's talk power and energy. Look, New South Wales Labor looks like it's still got no idea what it's doing about coal and coal-fired power and the raring. We've had the Environment Minister, Penny Sharp. She was grilled for being unable to reveal the time frame that the power station will be set to remain open and the amount it could cost taxpayers. Have a listen to the Minister today.
Do you have a ballpark of how long Eraring might need to be extended for?
Look, we don't, because we need to have that discussion with them. Okay. It's going to be a tough conversation.
But
we
it's
also
not 20
need to
years.
be keeping on
is
top
it 10 or is it 5?
I would hope that it's much less than that.
Tina, she'd want to hurry up. We've got AEMO this week telling us we're going to have blackouts during the summer.
And you know what, Steve? Maybe we need that to just shock us into shape for her to keep that open for another 10 years at least. It's ridiculous.
But let's not forget
Prue,
it was
I mean,
Keane. Sorry, Steve.
Well, correct. But if we do get blackouts this summer, I mean, the government will be the ones that'll cop it. I mean, New South Wales has as much coal as anywhere else. The fact that those coal-fired power stations are being shut down is ridiculous, Prue.
Look, Steve, this whole scenario it's fanciful. We all know that what we are on is the Titanic, the iceberg's looming. We know that Keane, that all these morons who are politicians who are preaching this like lemmings, this climate change, this catastrophe that we're facing, are heading us into disaster. We should be capitalising on nuclear, on gas and coal, and we should be supplying them because we've got the cleanest coal we ever had, and China's laughing. The rest of the world must think we're idiots, and we are. We're bloody fools. And thank God they've got Eraring staying open, but, you know, they won't commit because they know that they've made the wrong decision.
Well, they're also petrified
of
the Greens, Prue, that the Greens will take seats off the next election. That's why they won't give any details on how long they'll keep it open.
Yeah.
McSween and McQueen, what a double act you two are. Have a great Friday night, and we'll talk to you again soon.